What's good? It's your boy Jay, that's me. Let's discuss this boring, directionless, a waste of 3 hours Monday Night Raw for July the 17th, 2023. This show was an absolute disaster. Outside of Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar, that little fiasco. And the same applies for Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. Outside of those two things, this show was worthless. Absolutely worthless. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. We kick the show off with Cody Rhodes. He gets a hero's welcome home. So, Rhodes does his typical, what do you want to talk about, stick. He says, we don't have to talk because there's a large shadow looming over the sold-out arena. We're talking about Brock Lesnar. The fans begin to boo. Cody says Brock does bring it when he shows up, so Brock should come out right now and accept the Summerslam challenge. Cody Rhodes calls out Lesnar to a pot, but Lesnar doesn't show up. So Cody knows that Brock Lesnar's here tonight because he's advertised. Cody Rhodes goes on about no matter what time Lesnar shows up, he'll be in the ring waiting. 9 p.m., 10 p.m., or even the end of the show. So Cody gets emotional, pointing out how his mother Michelle is in the front row. He goes on about his mother being a fighter. And then the fans begin to applaud her. Cody says his relationship with Brock Lesnar has been complex. The only two words he can think of to sum it up are hard times. But when Lesnar shows up tonight, it won't be hard times for Rhodes. It'll be hard times for Lesnar. Cody sends one more warning to Lesnar. He tells everyone to enjoy Monday Night Raw. He goes to ringside and embraces mom. Lesnar's music starts up. He prepares for a fight. Lesnar doesn't show up. Cody goes and heads to the back. There's no music still. And then it starts up a third time. He's on the ramp and he goes and looks for Lesnar. So Lesnar throws a steel chair. It's out on the stage right now. And then Brock Lesnar just beats the shit out of Cody Rhodes. He gets him into the Kimura lock. He also hits Cody with a massive F5. Then he tosses Cody into the ring and does the Kimura lock again. Cody Rhodes sells it perfectly. Brock Lesnar yells at Cody and says, challenge accepted, I'll see you at SummerSlam, bitch. And then Lesnar exits the ring. So, pretty good little way to kick off the show there. I do like that. Again, how are we going to end this rubber match? I've thought of at least 3 decent matches. Last man standing. Maybe an I Quit match. And maybe like a steel cage. Those are the only 3 things off the top of my head, stipulations that come to mind. I can't think of anything else right now. I just can't. Those are the only 3. Even though Brock just did a last man standing match with Roman last year, I think he'll do it again for Cody. I don't see him doing an I Quit match. And a steel cage match would be okay. I would love to see that. So if they go with a last man standing match, I'm fine. And if they go with a steel cage match, I'm fine. But they got to do something of that sort and caliber to end this feud. Before moving on in the show, when Cody defeats Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, what's next for Cody Rhodes? And I'll mention this in my Impact review. But Nick Aldis just left Impact Wrestling. He just left after Slammiversary. I think he might be doing a couple of tapings, but he has officially left Impact, according to reports and everything. He's left. Him and Ziggy Dice. But that's besides the point. But I could see Nick Aldis showing up at SummerSlam and maybe helping Cody defeat Brock Lesnar. And then the next night on Raw, Nick Aldis turns heel and screws Cody maybe out of the World Heavyweight title with Seth Rollins. Because it looks like they're going to go that route. And then that's Cody's massive feud throughout the fall until he goes back to Roman at WrestleMania. So I do want to mention that right there. And I think that's going to be the only thing that would keep Cody at bay for a while. So Nick Aldis, hopefully he does show up at SummerSlam. I'm predicting that he will show up. Because if he does not show up and he goes to AEW, I don't know what Cody's going to do through the fall and through the winter. I don't. It's not a good sign. Cody's still over. Don't get me wrong. He's massively over. But feud-wise, where does he go until he circles back around Roman? Where does he go for the fall? Where? Moving on. So, first match of the night. Gunther versus Matt Riddle. So, this is a really decent, solid TV match right here. Gunther wins via the powerbomb. Post-match, Gunther gets on the announce table. He stands on top of it. Gets on the mic. Gunther says, the boos won't change the fact that this is the best night of your pathetic lives. I love that. Because you came to see the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. Gunther says, Matt Riddle is done. And Gunther is building his legacy. Gunther says Drew McIntyre can try to ride his coattails if he wants, but he will fall to the ring general like everyone else. So very good stuff there. I do like that. Moving on, Jackie Redmond, she is backstage with Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez to discuss their title defense. So Rhea shows up. She dismisses Jackie Redmond. Raquel and Rhea have some words, and Liv goes to talk about how they're not afraid of Rhea. But Rhea drops her with a headbutt. Ripley and Rodriguez, they start the brawl, and then officials try to separate them, which is nice. Rhea kicks Raquel on the knee, and so a doctor's called to look at the knee. So really good shit there. I think that we're still probably going to build towards Raquel and Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam. I think that'll make the most sense, even though that's a little bit too early. But, you know, we don't have, but I think 2.5 weeks left until SummerSlam. Moving on, so Judgment Day, they are in full force. So, Rhea Ripley gets on the mic and says they're stronger than ever. She laughs at the idea that they'd ever break up. Rhea goes on about how she's the most dominant woman in WWE. She says Damien and Finn Balor will become world champions, and tomorrow Dominik will become WWE NXT North American champion. Dominik goes to speak, and, you know, the typical boos rain down. Now, I'm starting to realize now that it's probably being piped in. I get that he can get some heat, but all the time, no. I think that's just in certain cities that they go to where he's going to get booed out of the building. But for the most part, it seems like they're just doing piped-in stuff at this point. Because I do see people, you know, doing the thumbs down and stuff like that, but it's not the entire arena. So Damien Priest touts his Money in the Bank briefcase and shows that he and Finn are on the same page. Finn says he'll be listening to Seth Rollins' interview later on tonight, but they have issues. But their issues will not be over until the title is around Finn Balor's waist. Dominik goes on to speak again. The Blues pick up. Then he's interrupted by Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So Sami Zayn polls fans on who paid to hear Dominik speak, or who wants to see him get beat up. Priest says they've been focusing on singles titles, but he sees a set of titles that will look good in the Judgment Day. Kevin Owens has looked to be really annoyed since coming out. Damien Priest challenges them to put the titles on the line. Fans chant yes. Sami asks Kevin Owens to respond. Kevin Owens snaps a little bit and says he doesn't care as long as he gets to hit a stunner on Dominik and kick Priest face in. Okay, that's fine. So that's the main event. Typical Judgment Day stuff. But it is what it is. They do accept the challenge. Not really that important. Moving on. So Rhea Ripley... No, we're at the trainer's room now. And Raquel is technically cleared, but to be safe, he'd like to do some scans, according to the doctor. Raquel argues and says, this is what happened to Liv last time. Pierce ends up agreeing to sanction the match. Raquel stands up and the champs head out. So, this leads us into Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez for the WWE Undisputed Women's Championships, Tag Team Championships. My girls, Sonya and Chelsea Green win. So that was great. So they took out Raquel Rodriguez earlier on the apron. So she was out for the count. So Deville threw her into the barricade and she yanked her off the turnbuckle so she couldn't tag in Liv Morgan. So Liv then eats the unprettier from Chelsea Green and then a running knee strike from Sonya Deville for the 1-2-3. New women's tag team champions, Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. Not like it matters. Who really cares? Again, I'm still wondering what the fuck happened to Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn. They have not been seen in 3 weeks. Where are they? What are they doing with them? That's weird. They've been gone for 3.5 weeks. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really matter who wins these tag titles, but they're not going anywhere. But Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green winning, to me, that's fine. Good stuff there. Moving on. So, Byron Saxton's backstage with Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. He says they eventually had a 2-on-1 advantage, but Sonya Deville doesn't want to hear about how Raquel Rodriguez and her back injury. Sonya Deville goes on about how she and Chelsea Green have been a top tag team since they got together. Chelsea keeps trying to give her thank yous to various people, including the worker at the salon. Really good stuff there. Sonya Deville says they're going to run this division and everyone better respect them. So that's fine. Moving on. So Byron Saxton, he has a sit-down interview with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins says the title deserves a marquee match at the biggest part of the summer. He says there's a short list of challengers. Finn Balor then walks in and sits down and he dismisses Byron Saxton. So Finn Balor wants the match and doesn't care about the other contenders. He says they both know the star. My bad. Finn Balor says they both know the line starts and ends with Finn Balor. Finn Balor brings up their issues and tells Rollins to talk with Adam Pearce and to get the match made. Seth Rollins says he understands where Balor's coming from, but Balor needs to stop living in the past because time moves forward. Finn Balor says he's not living in the past, he's living in chaos, and that's where he's taking the title. Finn Balor says he'll do what Rollins did to him. He'll hurt him, laugh in his face, take his career, and alter it forever. That was a good-ass line. I love that. Seth Rollins says this title is bigger than Balor's personal vendetta, bigger than both of them. But if Balor just wants to sell the score, they can fight right now. They don't need a match. Seth Rollins says, take your shot or get out of his face. Finn Balor nods and smiles. He says, cool. And then Finn Balor stands up, knocks a chair away. Rollins stays seated and shakes his head. Rollins talks to the producers about finishing up. Out of nowhere, Balor attacks him, beats him down, and Finn Balor tells Seth Rollins to tell Adam Pearce to make the match. So this is fine here. I'm digging this. Really good stuff here. I love this. So I'm guessing we could do like an I Quit match between Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. I believe it's come to that. So the story still continues between them. So I enjoyed that. It makes sense. It really all does make sense. Balor's heel work has been the best he's done in quite some time, and I'm digging this side of Finn Balor. I am. This is great. I love this dark side of Finn Balor. Really good heel character. Really good stuff here. Hopefully they can do a last man standing or an I Quit. Something of that nature. They've got to. Because we can't just have just a regular, just one-on-one match and settle the score that way. It can't. So this feud does need a stipulation. For them, I would go for the last man standing match. That's what I would go for. Moving on. The Vikings rule match. Alpha Academy versus the Viking Raiders. My boy Titus O'Neil was on commentary. I have no idea why. What the hell is he doing on commentary? Weird. Very, very weird. So anyway, the Viking Raiders, they get the win via the Ragnarok. So there is a table spot involving Maxine Dupree and Valhalla, a.k.a. Sarah Logan. She spears her through the table with her varsity jacket on. They put the jacket on in the middle of the match. Crowd went ballistic on that. That was really cool there. But, Otis is great. I love me some Otis. Very, very good. This feud is over. Let's ditch the Viking gimmick for these guys, if not, and try something totally different, because they've been doing the same shit for about 6 or 7 years. Either change it or get rid of all three of them and send them somewhere else. I don't care. But it's Impact, MLW, GCW, New Japan, wherever it's going to be. Give them a new gimmick of some sort or get rid of them. Seriously. Moving on, Shayna Baszler defeated Nikki Cross in like 15 seconds. Post-match, Rhonda Rousey appears up in the VIP box. She's got a mic. Fans start booing her. A couple of fans are cheering her. Rhonda goes on about how Shayna Baszler said she just waltzed through the back door in WWE. She goes on about some of her accomplishments and says she was thrown to the wolves. Rousey says she's the greatest fighter there is, while Baszler's just another knockoff of her. Shayna Baszler then talks some trash and calls Rhonda to fight her in the ring as fans cheer. Rhonda refuses, so Shayna goes into the crowd, but she's stopped by security. Rhonda says she'll do something for Baszler that Baszler could never do for herself, and that is get her booked on SummerSlam. Rhonda Rousey says she'll see Shayna Baszler in the Motor City, bitch. Nice. So that's great there. That's cool. And I guess the reports are true. It seems like Rhonda is going to go back to the UFC, which is kind of weird for me. I would think that her and Travis might want to have another child, but it is what it is. I mean, that's fine. I'm not against it. Just a little bit weird to me. I mean, you really want to do combat sports and you've already had a child, but, you know, it is what it is. She can do whatever the fuck she wants to do. So the promo was decent. It was decent, you know. Moving on. So Becky Lynch, she's backstage with Ricochet. So Ricochet, he talks some trash and says that Logan Paul's a joke. He challenges Logan Paul to come to next week's Raw, meet him in the ring. Ricochet says that he'll hit Logan Paul where it hurts, his ego. Again, a very whack promo from Ricochet. I don't know what they're going to do with Ricochet after this. Like, who goes over? Does Logan Paul go over or does Ricochet go over? I don't know. Who knows? But, this seems decent. But I do think that some of these matches that they're announcing will probably take place on either the Go Home Raw for SummerSlam or the Go Home SmackDown for SummerSlam. I think that's how they'll do some of these matches. You don't want to have a whole bunch of matches. I would shoot for no more than about 7 matches, which is fine. And then what doesn't make the card can be on the go-home shows. That's what I would do. Moving on. Miz TV. So, The Miz brags up about beating Tommaso Ciampa last week and then goes on about how big of a star he is, and he's been golfing with celebrities, including Pat McAfee, who he insults. That's great. Hopefully Pat McAfee will show up at SummerSlam. That would be great. If not, it is what it is. Moving on. Because he showed up at WrestleMania, and that was great. So maybe that's how he'll do it. He'll probably show up at, like, the Big Four. Miz says, unlike him, tonight's guest is on a downward spiral. He introduces Becky Lynch. So Miz brings up Lynch's recent losses and asks if she's lost a step. Becky Lynch, she begins to snap. For whatever reason, she starts tossing furniture. She holds Miz against the ropes. I'm like, what the fuck is this bitch on? Like, what is she doing? Damn, this bitch is psycho. Pardon my French, but that's shit. That's some crazy ex-girlfriend shit right there. Damn. So Becky says she's lost a lot this past year and been through a lot, but she's not lost a step. Becky says she knows how the stupid show works. There are other guests here to be brought out, so Miz better bring them out before he loses his tiny testicles. Miz says that Becky Lynch spoiled the show and her actions were a bit much, but here comes Zoe Stark and Trish Stratus. So Becky Lynch demands a rematch immediately. Trish Stratus says no because she's already won, and so has Zoe Stark. Trish Stratus goes on and says, actually, they're done with Lynch. Her and Zoe Stark are moving on. The two sides continue to have more words on the mic, for whatever reason. Trish Stratus agrees to a match with Becky Lynch, but first Lynch has to beat Zoe Stark. Becky Lynch says done. Stratus says when Stark defeats Becky Lynch must get on her knees and thank Trish. Becky says done. The third stipulation is when Becky loses, she must get a thank you tattoo across her chest. So Becky agrees to this without hesitating and says, done. I'm like, what the hell? So you know that Becky's going to win. You know. So Becky ends up tossing her mic. And then Trish Stratus and Zoe Stark beat down Becky Lynch. But Becky fights them off. She pulls off the protective mask off of Trish Stratus' face. She decks Trish Stratus in the face. And then Becky continues to fight and headbutts Zoe Stark with the protective mask on. And then Becky Lynch stands tall. Okay, I'm fine with this. Again, I don't know what the third match is going to be. It is what it is. I could really care less. Just end it. Again, Trish Stratus has had a horrible heel turn and a horrible heel run. It's just something that never should have been done. You don't want to boo Trish, but it is what it is. Next, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Bronson Reed. Pretty decent match, but it's a DQ because Tommaso Ciampa comes in and attacks Bronson Reed. So the referee calls for the bell. He hits Bronson Reed with a big knee, sends him to the floor. Nakamura's not happy with what happened. Ciampa attempts to explain himself. They have some words. And then Nakamura then drops Tommaso Ciampa with a kick in the middle of the ring. Nakamura yells at Ciampa and just walks off. So I'm sensing maybe a little heel turn here from Nakamura. It would make sense if we're being honest. Maybe he's not turning heel. Maybe he's not. But he seems more aggressive. And I do like this because he did want to defeat Bronson Reed clean, and he's done that before, I believe. So Byron Saxton then stops Shinsuke Nakamura backstage and asks him about what just happened. Nakamura says he's tired of everyone getting involved in his business. Saxton presses him what happened in the ring. Nakamura just repeats what he said, but this time he yells it, and then he walks off. So that's fine, I guess. And then the main event, Judgment Day, Damien Priest and Dominik Mysterio versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships. KO and Sami Zayn win via the stunner into the haluva kick for the 1-2-3. Really decent match, and that was the show. So Monday Night Raw was boring outside of Rollins and Finn Balor, as well as Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. Everything else on the show was bullshit. It was worthless. Man, Monday Night Raw sucks. This show absolutely sucks. It sucks to the highest degree. But what did you guys think? Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.